first way to lose weight is bring down your aldosterone levels. The second way to lose weight, yes, increase the basal metabolic rate, downshift, by increasing your water. Third way to lose weight is limit your carbohydrate intake. So the only carbs that you're going to be taking in are your vegetables, your legumes, and then the little bit of carbohydrates that come in your nuts and seeds and cheese and salad dressings, which are very minimal. So here's the fourth way. Fourth way to lose weight, we have to eat foods that are full of negative calories. You ate a lot of foods tonight that were full of negative calories. Your vegetables, your salad, that soup, all of those were full of negative calories. What's that? It means it takes more calories to digest these foods than they give you. For instance, a piece of celery this long, it has 10 calories in it. It takes 40 calories to digest it. Do the math for me. That means we have a net loss of how many calories? 30. You lost 30 calories by eating that stick of celery. And that's better if you would just say, I'm going to fast. I'm not going to eat anything. That doesn't change. You just kept burning calories at the basal metabolic rate. You're going to burn calories at the basal metabolic rate, whatever you do, so that if you eat the celery, then you also lost weight on top of it. And look at this cool exchange. All carbohydrates turn into blood glucose. And so your central nervous system will use that glucose as a fuel, and then we force the digestive system to burn fat, because the digestive system can burn fat for a fuel. Like, cool exchange. Got my sugars, but then yet I burned fat, and 30 calories more of fat than what I would have if I had eaten something else that wasn't a negative calorie food. All right. Now then, how many vegetables should you eat? Vegetables are negative calorie foods. Vegetables, vegetables, vegetables. 7 servings a day for the average person. 7? Yes, 7. 7 servings of vegetables a day. What's a serving? A half a cup. Unless it's a salad. And then it's a cup and a half, because salad is fluffy. Unless you want to cram it down, don't do that. I remember when I was just in junior high, my home ec teacher, I'll never forget her, it's Mrs. Smith, and she was teaching us how to make romaine salad. You know how you are, 7th grade. And so I kept tossing and tossing and tossing the romaine, because I thought, I'm going to make sure it's all mixed up, because I always try to do everything to its utmost. Anyway, Mrs. Smith came over and said, "You have bruised the romaine. It's all limp and flat." Anyway, now you know why I have Jeannie do the cooking. Anyway, so salad is fluffy. So a cup and a half is a serving size for salads, and all other vegetables, it's a half cup. A half a cup. So you could get 7 servings of vegetables in a day. And then we put in all those negative calories, and at the same time, we're burning all these fats. We're supplying the central nervous system with enough fuel. However, it is not enough fuel to keep you from ketosis. So there's something else that we have to do. And what we have to do is we have to snatch fat out of your bloodstream through the use of legumes. Legumes are loaded with carbohydrates. If you look on a can of Bush's beans or whatever brand, Campbell's, or I don't want to just camp on Bush's, I want to make sure everybody gets equal bidding here. If you look at beans, they carry a lot of carbohydrates. I want them. I want those carbohydrates, because I am absolutely certain then that you will never be in ketosis as long as you're eating the beans. But they also come with something called soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is absolutely critical in losing weight. Now, I've given you 4 ways so far. You want to go over them with me? First way, lower your aldosterone level. Second way, raise your BMR. Third way, limit carbohydrates. Fourth way, eat negative calorie foods. Fifth way, snatch fat out of your bloodstream. If you did just one of this 5-pronged approach, you will lose weight. If you do all 5, then you will lose weight at a very reasonable rate without developing bat wings or aprons. Do you know what a bat wing is? It's when I wave goodbye, goodbye, and I stop waving and my little flap keeps going. That's a bat wing. That's my own personal designation. Aprons, can you get the idea of an apron? Okay, we lift the apron up. This is the little flap on your belly, you know, and then you put the little talcum powder underneath it because you got skin sticking on skin. That's your apron. You do not want to develop a bat wing or aprons. You have got to let your skin shrink with you. And so if you lose weight very, very rapidly, which you can do, I mean, I can tell you how to lose 60 pounds in a month just like that. You will be in ketosis, so it happen, and there's going to be strain on you. But then you're going to have all these flaps. You're going to look like an elephant. Have you ever looked at an elephant? I'm not talking about his size. I mean, they're just wrinkles all over. You know, their skin is sagging down to their very toes. And they got this all, oh, yeah, we don't want you to look like that. So you have to lose weight at a reasonable rate. So if you do 4 of these methods, you're going to lose it at a reasonable rate. So will you if you do all 5. So what's the 5th method? I already told you it's to snatch fat out of your bloodstream. How in the world are we going to do that? You make a digestive fluid. It's called bile. It's made in your liver. It is made out of triglycerides. Triglycerides are a fat. And so if we could take our bile, which is made out of fat, and get it to be excreted from the human body, then we would have thrown fat away. So how do you do that? And is bile recycled? Absolutely, bile is recycled. Bile, once it's made in the liver, and it's released through what are known as biliary ducts. They're like tubes, and they lead into your duodenum. One goes through the gallbladder, but anyway, it all ends up into the duodenum. This is your duodenum right here. This is not your stomach. Your stomach's over here on the left side. This is your duodenum, the first part of the small intestine. And then the bile will digest fatty acids there. And then it goes on down into the jejunum, and it goes further down into the ileum. The ileum is the last part of the small intestine. And in the ileum, something very significant happens. We absorb fatty acids from the ileum. We don't absorb fats from the stomach, from the duodenum, from the jejunum. We don't absorb them in our mouth, in our esophagus, because we do absorb some things up there. No, we absorb them from the ileum. And because bile is made out of triglycerides, which is a fat, then your bile is going to be recycled. And it returns to the liver from whence it came. How much bile returns? 90 to 95% of your bile will recycle. That means 90 to 95% of your triglycerides go back to the liver. And the liver says, hey, there's no need to make new bile today. Why make new bile? I have all the old bile coming back. Now, I have simplified this quite a bit. You actually go back into constituent parts, but it all ends up back into the liver. All of those triglycerides, 90 to 95%.